All right, in today's video, we're going to talk about preparing before you actually start building your website. So, have you ever heard the term proper preparation prevents poor performance? Well, this is key as well when you're building an e-commerce site. And too often I see entrepreneurs fail because they set up their cart and then they have no idea where to go. So in this video, we're going to go over the preparation that needs to happen. So there's 4 areas of prep we're going to talk about, which is the first one being choosing your colors, right? Your primary and other colors for your site, creating your content and menu structure, as well as product photography and descriptions, and your shipping. So let's start out with choosing your colors. Essentially, you're going to pick the primary and accent colors for your site. And as you can imagine, color depends on your brand and your customers. So for example, if you sold yoga supplies, I could see a lot of purples being used. Banks tend to use a lot of blues since blue tends to convey trust. But I do recommend using a muted color such as whites or taupes or beiges as a primary on the site, and then you can use bold colors to match your brand. And I only say this because on mobile, where many of your customers shop from, the simpler colors are easier to read, and this is what many of the larger brands do as well. So if you look at larger brands, their sites tend to be kind of bland actually, but they're there because they're easy to read. And if you're not sure what colors you like, we're going to go over a little exercise that might help you out of them. So what I always recommend is find a picture that conveys the colors you're looking for, right? This could be a product picture, it could be your logo, or in this case here, I found this picture here that I thought was just really, really pretty. And you can find different ones that works for you. And what you're going to do is you're going to add it to Color Explorer, and this is something you can find online where you can upload the picture, and what it does is it actually outputs a color swatch. And as you can see, there's lots of peaches and blues that is pulled from out of the picture, and you could then use that to kind of decide on what you want to do. So the middle one gives you a hexadecimal code you can use, and then there's lots of blues and everything. And it may take multiple pictures to find what color scheme you like, but this is a great tool to kind of figure that out. So next we're going to talk about creating your content. And content includes everything you'll need for your website. This will include things like an About Us page, frequently asked questions, your shipping policy, your return policy, and even things like your privacy policy and terms and conditions. And it's important to pull this all together so you're not guessing at what it is. And then we also want to talk about your menu structure and what's going to be in the header, right? What's going to be in the footer, right? And what type of category structure will you need? What about, subcategories, right? And once you have that figured out, you'll need to do some category descriptions as well. And the key thing is not to be fancy, right? But to put yourself in your customer's shoes and what they'll be looking for when they come to your website. And so let's take a look at the product, right? And we talk about the product, you're going to need pictures of your products, right? And if you're lucky, your supplier might have pictures for you to use. And in fact, if you end up selling larger brand items, they have high quality product shots that you can use. But you may need to take your own, right? And the key thing to good quality for your photos, camera is secondary. The key thing is light, right? And with a smartphone and a light box, you can take some really good pictures. And don't think it needs to be on white. I've seen some fantastic photos that go onto a dark or black background. But one big mistake I see is having all kinds of shapes in your product catalogs. Some are square, some are rectangle, and what you want to do is choose a particular shape. Are they going to be all square? Are they going to be all rectangle? And are they going to be all vertical or horizontal rectangle? And if you look at any large commerce site, they all have the same shape. And then finally, take pictures that help answer questions your customer will have. What's the interior look like? What's the stitching like? What type of buttons are there? These are all things that customers are going to be looking for, and your pictures should convey that. And then let's not forget about our product descriptions. And again, don't rely on supplier descriptions, right? You can use your supplier information to supplement your own descriptions, but I like to have at least 2 paragraphs and ideally one that tells a story. So you can fill it in with bullet points and other pertinent details, but again, this helps the customer and it also helps with your search engine rankings. And then finally, let's talk about shipping. Right? Shipping is too often an afterthought, right? And customers of mine, they get to the area of the cart to set up shipping and they're like, oh, well, I don't know what I should be shipping. I don't know, how much should I charge? So spend the time to figure out how are you going to ship. It could be US Postal Service, it could be FedEx, it could be UPS. If you're in Canada, it could be Canada Post. It could be a Royal Post if you're in the UK, and you just got to kind of figure that out. So if you're drop shipping, you may not have a choice, right? But you still need to figure out how much shipping will cost. And for your own products, right, go ahead and get some boxes, right? If you're US Postal Service, right, go get some small, medium, and large flat rate boxes and see what your products will fit into. For FedEx and UPS, get boxes they accept and see how much they will charge you. And then price it out and choose what works best for you. Unless you're shipping larger items, I personally don't charge more than $6 shipping. If you do any more than that, unless you have a good reason for it, you tend to get a lot of cart abandonment, right? Especially with Amazon providing free shipping nowadays. So for most of us, US Postal Service will be the cheapest. Overseas, it might be cheaper with UPS or FedEx. And there's a lot of tools to help you ship, like Indicia and Stamps.com. So, starting out, sign up at USPostalService.com for an account, and then you can just buy your postage as needed. And even some of your carts will go ahead and have shipping in there that you can ship from. So Shopify is a typical example. So if you need greater details in this, obviously I provide this in my cart prep program, and you'll see a link below that walks you through in detail everything you need to prepare for creating your website. Hey everyone, thanks for watching. If you like this video, then go ahead and like or comment below. And whether you're watching this on YouTube or my website, go ahead and subscribe by clicking the subscribe button so you don't miss out on any other useful videos. If you want to see the last video in this series, go ahead and click the video in the corner to watch. I also recommend going to my website and subscribing to my site, where you'll get things like cheat sheets and workbooks you can't get on YouTube.